What's good with the YouTube of Convicts Perspective? It's your boy Flacco coming through, sliding through with my co-host, Big Senor Rojo, also known as the future boxing champ. Little bit energy, man. So as you guys can tell by the title, man, we got an exclusive update, man. We came across some information, and we're gonna break down a little bit about this individual afterwards, man. But a lot of everybody in the comments are always asking, man, what's up with Tex Hernandez? Tex Marin Hernandez, man. Long-time NF member since the 70s. My understanding is that he killed an NF drop at one time. I believe that he actually choked him out to death, if I'm not mistaken, man. I think that was his surrounding case. I could be wrong, man. But we found out some interesting information on an exclusive update about him.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is actually from the United States District Court for the Northern District of California, man. And it says USA versus Hernandez. Defendant Tex Marin Hernandez moves for a reduced sentence under 18 U.S.C. 3582. The court denies Mr. Hernandez's motion because the court is unable to find that Mr. Hernandez is not a danger to the community. The court determines that there is no need for oral arguments. Background: on September 27th of 2004, Mr. Hernandez pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy under the RICO Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, also known as RICO. The conspiracy involved alleges acts of murder, crimes of violence, and drug distribution. Previously, Mr. Hernandez had been serving a life sentence for murder in California state custody. Mr. Hernandez was sent to federal custody during the proceedings in this case. Ultimately, the court sentenced Mr. Hernandez to life in prison. While in custody in 2012, Mr. Hernandez stabbed 2 staff members and 2 officers with a metal shank. On June 11, 2020, Mr. Hernandez wrote the warden of his facility requesting that the warden move to reduce Mr. Hernandez's sentences under the pre-mentioned U.S. Penal Code. Bear with me 1 second, this is hard to read. Mr. Hernandez did not receive a response. Legal standard. The Sentencing Reform Act of 1984 does not generally permit federal courts to modify a term of imprisonment once it has been imposed. Congress has provided certain exceptions to this rule. As relevant here, a court may reduce a defendant's sentence under 18 U.S.C. 3582 if certain procedural requirements are met, and if extraordinary and compelling reasons warrant such a reduction. Before the First Step Act of 2018, a defendant could not bring a motion for compassionate release under 3582. Under the original compassionate release framework, enacted as part of the Comprehensive Crime Control Act of 1984, only the director of the Board of Prisons can move for compassionate release on a defendant's behalf. Effective December 2018, the First Step Acts permit a defendant to move for relief under 3582 if the defendant satisfies the statute's exhaustion requirements. The defendant may bring a request once he has fully exhausted all administrative rights to appeal. A failure to do so on this level will null and void this. Will null and void this. To bring the motions on his behalf or after the lapse of 30 days from receipt and such a request, the warden of the defendant's facility, whichever is earlier. The First Step Act did not alter the original framework's requirements that a court consider the factors set forth in 18 U.S.C. 3553 before granting a motion for reduced sentence, and that any sentence reduction under 3582 must be consistent with applicable policy statements issued by the Sentencing Commission. Before this First Step Act enabled defendants to bring their own motions for compassionate release, the Sentencing Commission prolongated a policy statement directing that a court may reduce sentences under 3582 only if the court finds that the defendant is not a danger to the safety of other persons or to the community as provided in 18 U.S.C. 3142. Section 3142 in turn requires courts to take into account 4 factors when determining the defendant's dangerousness: the nature of the circumstance of the offense charge, the weight of the evidence against the person, the history and characteristics of the person, and the nature and seriousness of the danger to any person or the community that would pose by the person's release. The policy statement refers to motions brought by the director of the Bureau of Prisons and not to motions brought by defendants, as defendants could not bring such motions when the policy statement was last amended. This is it not obvious whether the policy statement applies to motions brought by defendants.
Mm.
Okay.
So pretty much the common theme here, right?
Yeah.
I could just skip down. It basically got denied.
Yeah, there's one last part I'm going to read real quick, though. This is called the discussion. The court denies Mr. Hernandez's motion for reduced sentence because the court is unable to find that Mr. Hernandez is not a danger to the safety of any other persons or the community, based on several factors, including violence and violence while incarcerated. Mr. Hernandez was convicted of RICO conspiracy involving the conspiracy to commit murder and many, many other violent crimes. And it is the court's determination that releasing him outweighs any other I can't read this word because it's kind of blanked out, but his threat to the community basically overrides any arguments that he brought forth.
This case, what we're seeing is a common trend here, man. Like these guys, they're criminal geniuses. Tibbs, Corny, they've all been around checks. They've been around for years, man, and they've been in the legal law. Mm-hmm. They're trying to find new avenues, new resources, new wavelengths to have any hope. Loopholes. Any loopholes that they can find. Tibbs filed last year for compassionate release. Yeah. Now you have Tex. In my understanding, when we talk about Tibbs, I've talked to several people that have stated that if they wouldn't have had the allegation of Crystal Morado, his wife, being killed, there was a strong chance that he would have been released. Now you have Texas situation. 2012, it says he stabbed 4 people, and they were
two free staffs and 2 COs.
2 COs. I mean, I've always heard that Tex was with the business, right? That he was a treacherous individual, man. But I haven't heard of the NF going after correctional officers or anything in how long? It's been years. Maybe in the 70s you'd hear about that, man.
Yeah, you got that supposed hit on like the district attorneys on the streets and stuff like that, that never transpired. But yeah, I mean, that's never been something that group has always avoided, man, because it brings nothing but problems.
I'm wondering, right? We all know about Tex. Tex got demoted all the way to Cat 1 for his involvement in the murders of high-ranking Cs that weren't properly sanctioned. You know what I mean? At least that's what's been filtered out. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, I know the MC situation was he was involved in that situation, and that brought a lot of backlash and a lot of questions out there in the Salinas community as well as within the O. I mean, people are still mad to it to this day. What occurred with MC, and how he's still in good graces based upon his actions. Like me and you've talked about it, man. It's just if Cuete and Tibbs and all these individuals who were involved, they know the law. So there's some type of loophole that had to have occurred, that they had to have been given getbacks. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. They know not to have high-ranking members. That one was a captain at one time, one was an OGB city member. To have them taken out without the proper vote is something I don't believe would ever happen, unless there's a power struggle at the top within the mess side and the sitting captains that we were not a privilege to. That's the only thing I could think about. Yeah. Which wouldn't be the first time that there's been a power struggle, because you have a power struggle today between the state and the feds, man. But back to Tex, man. I've never really personally ever heard anything bad about the individual, to be honest with you. The only thing I ever heard was his involvement in the MC situation, which we don't know all case factors when it comes to that, man. We could talk about, well, this is what I heard, this is what this person said, man, but we weren't privileged to it. We don't know. I do know he was a treacherous individual. I do believe he caught his murder case. I want to say in '78, man. I want to say it. I could be wrong, man, but I believe it was in what's the county in Santa Barbara? I
No
think he,
idea.
I think it was in Santa Barbara County Jail, Santa Maria, somewhere down there. It was actually down south where he caught his case, man. I'll look into that later on to clarify, man. But you know, this was interesting because what I was doing was when I found this is I started looking up to find out more information on certain historical NF members, and the one thing I started to see is that they're all starting to file compassionate releases.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Texas always been really, really hard to learn anything about, man. I don't know if it's because he's real reserved or, you know, out of the spotlight, doesn't talk a lot, isn't well known by a lot of people. I don't know what it is, but he's one of the harder, you know, current well-known people to find anything out about. You know what I mean? And I don't know why necessarily, but researching him is a pain in the butt. You know, there's not a lot out there about him. You know, all it is secondhand information that I'm able to come up with, you know. And I know he was actually on the mess up for a while. You know what I mean? I don't know how, you know, I don't know if it was a temporary fill-in thing. I don't know anything like that. But you know, him and Quete both have had a lot of serious allegations presented, you know, against them. And they're still going. They're still alive. They're still functioning. You know what I mean? So there has to be a reason for that.
So if I'm not mistaken, then correct me if I'm wrong. Around Operation Black Widow time, was he not the third rank captain?
I'm not sure if it was him or Pinky, brother. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. Even though I was right there with Tibbs, I was never really clear, man. To my understanding, it was Tex when I was there in 95, 96, 97. But then I've heard to the contrary as well, that it was Pinky. But when I was there, it was supposedly Tibbs was the advocate, Corny was the Cayas, and Tex was the prisons.
Okay.
I mean, but I'm not 100%, man. I'm second guessing myself, man, because I've heard from others that it was Pinky. But it might have been Pinky while I was there. It might have changed over, and I just wasn't abreast of it because of the allegations about the other stuff.
Well, you got to remember, Pinky got indicted, and so they had those reserve generals filling in those positions.
Right.
Because Pinky had been a general since Pinky and Chente. I know Pinky and Chente Orojo were generals in 1990. I know that for a fact. But you know, I mean, when they left the Bay, he got indicted during that Huevo Trujeque situation in Spink Hill, right? So it was my understanding, I think, why he was out fighting those cases, man, that I thought Quete was the reserve general in that situation. I'm not 100%, man, but
I've never heard Quete being a general. I've heard him being number 2 captain behind DC.
The number 2 captain. Okay, I'm probably wrong on that then.
Hey, I could be wrong too, brother. I'm not 100%.
No, he was holding some type of position, man, during that time frame, man. I mean, like I said, man, you know, the politics that happened up top, we don't know all of it, man. It's not really relinquished to us. It's not our place to question things. The business is going to continue, man. But
and sometimes they'll fib to you. They'll straight up tell you some bullshit, bro.
Yeah, true, man. But Tex, man, he's an interesting character, man. Little's known from him, but he's been a long time member. And I remember I was talking to one of the old timers, man. He was talking about when Tex got there, and this was in the 70s in Chino Palm Mall. They had him filing his report. You know what I'm saying? And they were questioning, like, you know, what kind of damn name is Tex? You know what I'm saying? That's his real name, Tex Marin Hernandez, man. You know, it's just kind of, you know, he's pretty much been ostracized, man. And we get viewers that are asking questions, you know, what's up with him, man? We really honestly don't know.
Where is Tex from?
Okay, a lot of people say Salinas, you know what I'm saying? And then some people have said that he's more towards down south, towards the Tulare County area. So almost, I think someone said Madera at one time, man. So I really don't know. It's like some people say that about Tibbs. That Tibbs caught his case in San Jose, but that Tibbs is originally from Hanford. I really honestly don't know.
Right.
The same thing with Cornell. People say that Cornell is not from Sakura. He's originally from down south, but that he caught his case in Sacramento. So I really don't know how they identify these. You know what I mean? A lot of these individuals didn't care what location they're from.
Yeah, that's what it is. Them OGs will come in there and say they're from wherever they feel like saying. I mean, straight up.
Anyways, guys, this is just a quick exclusive update, man. Just to let you know that, Tex did file for compassionate release, man, and it just got denied. What's the date that it got denied?
Oh, bro, I'm not sure. Hold on. The date on this is it doesn't have a date, my man.
I think it was March 8th, 2021 or something like that.
February 15th, 2021.
Okay, February 15th.
That's when it was filed.
Okay.
So yeah, it's already been filed and denied this year. So March 8th might have been when they denied the motion. Yeah, they're not going to approve none of them motions, bro. They're going to find a reason not to. Even if they have to break the law, they're just gonna hope while they appeal it and while it goes through things that they're gonna find a reason not to. They're not gonna let them guys out, man.
No.
Too many murders, man. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So kids, don't murder people. Have a good day, YouTube, man. It's your boy Rojo. I'm boy Flacco. We'll holler at you.